Hi everybody, I just wanted to do a little brief introduction to Unit 7 Learning Media Assessment and Learning Modalities. And there's a lot of information in Learning Media Assessment units. There's going to be 2 of them, and you actually have kind of 3 weeks because we will go into spring break week as well. But these weeks are broken down into 2 sections, and this first section I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about tonight and give you an introduction to it. But do know that as you're starting to do your learning media assessments with your students and you're getting that kind of stuff organized, if you have a particular student with with specific things that you need and you feel like you don't have the resources, or there might be a tool out there but maybe you don't know about it, please shoot me an email and let me know, because I don't want to give you all of the information at once in this first unit. We wanted this first unit to kind of be about kind of the basics of learning media assessments. So don't be afraid to reach out. My area of expertise, CBI, and I also worked a lot with children with ONH, and Dr. Correa Torres is especially knowledgeable about deaf-blind learners, so learners who are deaf-blind. So please be aware of that, and do send me an email if you have a need that you just find is not fulfilled by the resources that we're starting out with here. That being said, it's a pretty rich unit. There are quite a few readings in here to teach you kind of the basics of learning media assessment, their purpose, their scope, and then we've also included an article about dual media learners, so learners that might be print and braille, and that could be for a variety of reasons. It could be about progressive vision loss. It could be about, what works. It should be about what works best for the child. And that's kind of interesting to read about, and you'll probably come across that in your experience as a teacher of the visually impaired. And there's also sort of philosophical issues regarding literacy and individual disability. And so we want to touch on that a little bit too, because we want to give you all the information so that you can kind of, learn it and understand it, but also have it for future use. So another thing that we've included is a research paper on the National Federation for the Blind's reading media assessment, which is a little bit different than others. There's also a web page that I'll include in there for you, so you can go and just kind of check it out. But it's sort of a newer tool and that people are using or are talking about in our field. So moving from there, the other thing that we're going to look at this week are some experts in the field. Tom Miller from the Perkins School has a webcast in their presentation on learning media assessments that I think you'll find really interesting. And then also there is a web cast from Millie Smith, who is kind of our guru in our field for sensory impairment and children with multiple disabilities. If you're not familiar with Millie Smith, you should get familiar with her, because I imagine that most of you have caseloads with a lot of children that have multiple impairments and CVI, and that is certainly what her area of expertise is. And it's a very informative webcast. It's very interesting, and it's really just talking about sort of understanding the foundations of development without vision, on how the sensory system works. And I'm going to share some Millie Smith documents with you too as well as we go along in the course. But again, if you feel like it might be helpful to you now, let me know and I'll send it along. We're also we don't have any discussion this week, but we do, I can hear you cheering, but we do have an assignment, which is actually going to be fun. I think it's a 2-page essay, and really we want to talk about what literacy means to you, because in your role as a teacher, literacy is, of course, one of the most important things, and that you can do for your students is helping them with that area and understanding what their needs are in that area. And for teachers of the visually impaired, the learning media assessment is really something that we do specifically, like the functional vision assessment. It's very different from anything any other teacher does, really, because you are essentially helping the family and the child and the team to choose the best modality of learning for that child, and that's a pretty big task, and it's not to be taken lightly. So we're going to talk a little bit about the legal implications of it in the lecture video this week that I'll be doing, and you're going to basically understand kind of all of the components of it. So hope that you enjoy it, and again, please reach out if you have anything that you need that you don't see in the unit.